Hey guys, and welcome back. This is ChosenArchitect, and today we're jumping back into some more mechanical mastery. I hope you guys are ready. So, in game of this pack, this is what we're continuing to work towards. We're very, very close, I think, to that point. The one limiting factor is going to be antimatter, antimatter, antimatter. That's my nose. Anyways. Antimatter is going to be a huge deal, and we're going to have to get a hold of some. Thankfully, we only really need about 4 antimatter in total before we can start duplicating it and have an infinite amount of antimatter. But getting that 4 antimatter is still quite the process, I will say. Even, especially in this particular pack, where getting water is not as simple as just placing down a sink from another mod and giving yourself infinite water. No, we have to do multiple different things in order to sustain a fission reactor where we don't have means of a lot of water. And that means we're going to probably have to set up a turbine. But the problem with the turbine is it produces a lot of power. And where do I send all that power? I don't know, because I don't really, like, other than a battery from Mekanism, which I would assume would fill really fast, that power, if it builds up, we'll shut everything off, and that means we're no longer generating the antimatter that we're going to need, or the waste. So I'm trying to wrap my brain around ways to combat that, and I was looking at, is there any sort of trash can? There's no way to void power, I don't think, which is kind of unfortunate. So I'm going to have to figure that out. They don't have the trash mod in here. We do have modular routers, but I don't think modular routers can do anything like that. Unless we're just like filling a giant power storage from which we could do, and we can probably build it. It's a giant multi-block that we can build from Mekanism, and just use Mekanism power storage. But that's besides the point. We need to be working towards getting there, and today we're going to be doing that. So I know we've just jumped into this, but the progression to get into antimatter is not even something you can get started on early on. You have to really get most of the stuff that we've done completed first before you can even start touching this. So this is like super last minute, and I feel like it's going to probably be the one thing that is going to take the longest for us to achieve, is antimatter. Unfortunately, that's just how most packs are recently, and it is quite annoying that you know, antimatter, like I said, is like the reality nowadays. I don't know why it's like in game, but it's just like a time gate. It's really just a time gate. Setting it up isn't too bad. It's not crazy bad. We already have the fizzle fuel set up. It's just, man, I'm on a rant now. I'm just ranting. Chosen rants about how he hates antimatter. Like, I don't hate it, but I just hate that mod packs make it a priority. Anyways, would have been a lot more fun without that. Either way, we're gonna have to figure out how to set that up. And so today we're gonna have to modify our gas burning generator, because to even get started in thinking about making this, we are going to need a solar neutron activator. I don't recommend building a reactor without having a solar neutron activator crafted anyways, because we want to start immediately process all of the nuclear waste that we're going to be producing. And to do that, you use a solar neutron activator. Like, that's one way to do it. This is going to turn our nuclear waste into polonium, and then the polonium gets turned into polonium pellets, which is nice. And then you get this spent nuclear waste, which you have to put through a waste barrel. And then you'll just hope that you have enough waste barrels to slowly deplete all of that. But here, actually, it does have a use: stable spent nuclear waste. Disabled, safe for storage or disposal. Oh wait, they give you a way to just trash? What? Disabled? I don't understand. Disabled. Why does it say disabled? We can just pump spent nuclear waste into here? If so, that'd be amazing. Yeah, that would be quite awesome if we could just use a purification chamber to create this. This looks like it was added. I don't understand why it says disabled, but it shows it's a recipe. Either way, we're going to have to figure something out with that, hopefully without creating a catastrophic failure in our system and producing a bunch of radiation. So we need to make these black HDPE sheets, which means we are going to need HDPE sheets to begin with. And so that's what I'm going to be working on right here. It's not going to be crazy to do. So what I'm going to do is actually stop our system for a moment, completely break the gas burning generator, and I need to run a pipe on top of here that is going to fill up with the gas. And then I can go ahead and place down my gas burning generator, thus changing it a little bit, right? Just a tiny bit, and hooking it back in so we have all the power again. Okay, so that gives us access to the excess ethylene that we are probably producing here. So this cable should be filling with all of the excess ethylene. And what I want to do with that is I want to turn it into from a gas into a liquid. So to do this, this needs to be plugged in. And let's go ahead and grab this real quick. An ender. Slap that on there so it has power. But yeah, we need to be producing liquid ethylene for this setup. That's then going to run into this pressurized reaction chamber. Now, this is going to need two different things. It's going to need the liquid ethylene, and it's going to need this weird thing that we have in here called oxygen. And this oxygen, which is our oxygen channel, we need to make sure that the gas here is set to output to the back. And that should be done. And then we'll set that. And then that should be feeding this oxygen with the liquid ethylene. These two things together should produce, hopefully, should produce these pellets whenever we feed it the substrate that we have been gathering. So, exporter, I mean, this is probably about as simple as this is going to get. We need to tap in, and we can export for the bottom. I don't know if the item, yeah, the item is set to allow from the bottom. That's perfect. So we'll just have an exporter, and we'll export all of that substrate that we've been generating here in this particular setup. Thankfully, this setup can produce power and produce the sheets all in one go. And if we need to increase the output, we could always do that later on. Okay, so let's get the cables hooked in, just like so. And we should start to see the substrate in here. And I think this is ready to go. Let's see, oxygen. And then we have liquid ethylene. And then we just need to give it power. I was trying to, oh, it was just needing some power. Okay, and there it goes. So it's producing all of the pellets. It doesn't produce a byproduct or anything like that. So we're good there. And really, I can go ahead and just use an importer to pull the items out and have them route down into the bottom like so. And there we go. We should see the items coming out and gives us some pellets. Now I want to take these and of course put them into our storage for now, but these are going to get processed. So I want to make sure to have them all there. Or actually, you know what? I don't want this. I don't want this going in here. What's wrong with me? We actually just want to process these immediately because I don't think these have a use. Well, I mean, they make these rods. Are these rods? These are for a pigment mixer and making plastic sticks. Okay, so I don't really want these in this form. I actually just want to send it to an enrichment chamber and make the sheets. So, yeah. So to get rid of this, what I'll do is I will simply unlock. I'll try and pull everything out. Simply unlock and lock. Unfortunately, it does pull out everything. There we go. We have it all locked up. But yeah, an enrichment chamber should be able to be connected to this instead of the cable. I don't know what I'm doing, getting ahead of myself. And then have this, make sure the output's here and auto eject, sends that into an enrichment chamber, and then we can hook our importer up to the side. That will be perfect. There we go. And make sure that this also has a side config and auto eject. There we go. Give it some power. And bam, we will have sheets. This will take 3 of these pellets and turn it into a sheet. And of course we can speed this up, but these sheets are going to be 100% necessary as we need them to make these black HDPE sheets, which are what's going to be used to make SPS casings, solar neutron activators, and a multitude of things. Now, in order to get this black iron, this is going to use some of that essence and the enriched essence that we generated. Thankfully, the enriched essence produces 200 millibuckets of dark essence, which means that we will get 20 per single darkness essence here. So this black iron is going to be used for extended crafting, which we're going to get into later. But it's also used for those sheets. But thankfully we get 20 of them for this amount of EMC, because like I said, this is going to produce 20. So I have my craft set up for it right here. 20 iron is going to equal 20 black iron for 1 enriched darkness. And I think just setting this back up here into its infuser, probably a good idea. Let's see, we can set that there. I think actually, you know what? Let's use the channel that has the least amount of stuff in it. We can do that here. We'll see if that works. I don't know. It might work. It might not. Actually, you know what? I'm probably just going to put it all in its own container. We might have to have multiple of those all set to their own if we're going to have auto crafting happening all the time, just to be safe. But there we go. So now we have this technically done. Let's go ahead and craft some. And that should get started. There it goes. Already crafted it. And there we are set. I think we need to get some speed upgrades on this though. Now that I have this ready to go, I'm going to get the auto craft set up for the next part moving forward to make the sheets. And this is going to require another auto craft going here because I have induction smelters set up for auto crafting these items, but I feel like I'm going to need a separate one that is going to be crafted on its own, just in case we have to craft a lot more of these. Might as well have another induction smelter. Never hurts, right? These things are basically like free. So we put the ender on the top, and I should be able to just connect in the crafter. Boop, crafter's in, and then I need an importer, and everything should automatically connect in and be ready to go, right? I'll put in the max upgrades that this can receive as of right now. These are the max upgrades. And then make sure the configuration is set up. Perfect. And this is ready to go. I just got to get the autocraft set up for this. So taking these in the induction smelter, they are going to need the HDPE sheets. And so I'll go ahead and just set up a simple craft for that. And now those are ready to go. That should start producing them. And then as far as sheets goes, I probably want to get them in a drawer just to make sure we keep those nice in a storage. And they're not going to produce very fast, but now we should be able to craft the solar neutron activator, which will make crafting the fission reactor a lot smoother. Speaking of fission reactor, it's now time to start prepping for that madness. Now, you would think with setting up the Mekanism reactor, I would have this bad boy memorized and know exactly what I need to do. But there's just honestly so many steps involved that, well, it's not something I don't think I'll ever be able to memorize. So I even have to go back and reference my old videos to realize what I am doing. So with this, reactor glass is what we're going to need. I've already got the fission fuel assemblies crafted. I'm going to need exactly 91 to fit here because there's 13 per floor, per level. And then at the top, they're going to be capped off with these control rod assemblies. Now, I'm going to set these just like this, and this is where I got that 13 number, right? And it gives me a good level to sort of judge how many I'm going to need. I should be able to use building gadgets to set up more of these. So just simply making the structure a little bit easier to build. The crazy thing is this is the simplest part of the whole thing. This just building the thing, easy. It's what you do with all of the products, trying to also figure out how we're going to get enough water into this. I could use sodium, but sodium requires so much more, so many more steps involved. And then I'm also kind of curious how I'm going to avoid steam. Can I avoid steam? I don't think I can. So we're probably going to have to build something to get rid of the steam. Unfortunately, otherwise this thing will blow up. We do not want that. So here is going to, the thing to handle the steam would be a steam turbine, and then we just recirculate the water back into this. But man, that is a process in itself. And then we have to make sure we're not losing out on the power, like I mentioned, because if it can't void off the power, then we're in trouble. And I don't think there's anything in here to help us void off power. Oh man, there's I may be getting ahead of myself by building or even getting started with the reactor. So I was thinking the only thing that lets us null anything is this nullifier in here. And I don't think that gas or pressurized tubes connect to this, does it? No, it does not. And that would be the only way we could void stuff. So this also doesn't connect to power. This doesn't use power. This is like specifically for like fluids and items only. Oh boy, I'm in trouble. Now, for this battery that I'm going to have to make, because there's going to be only one way to store power, and outside of this, I don't know what is going to happen unless we just limit the rate of things. I really don't know. But I'm hoping this can just be a giant power buffer, since we have no way of voiding that stuff off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create some lithium. So we're going to need lithium in order to make the battery from Mekanism, which is actually called an induction battery, right? So it's an induction casings that you're going to need in order to create this, and you're going to need the cells. So I'm just setting up another one of these thermal evaporation plants because we're going to take the excess brine that we're not using over here and hopefully feed it into this. That's the hope. And let's see if I have enough pipe here. I'm going to line this up. Nice. Perfect. And we should be able to use the extra brine that this is generating to... Oh, and I'm a... I completely messed up. Oh no. Yeah, we're gonna use this. There we go. That's so much faster to break. To make some lithium. Evaporation valve. Wait. This is brine, right? Yeah, this is taking brine. And I'm pretty sure I'm doing this right. My God, it's so like there's just a lot that is going on in my head right now, and the end of this pack is just, whew. Is just a lot for me right now. All right, let's go. Let's see. Cell for Mekanism. These things right here, like the basic cells. Lithium. Lithium comes from liquid lithium, which... Wait. Okay, so this is... No, that's producing that. We need to make this. This comes from lithium. Lithium comes from the liquid lithium, which comes from brine into this. So this should connect. Oh, it's not, oh my gosh, it's not multi-blocked yet. There we go. Now it's connected. Now it's producing liquid lithium. Okay. So in the back, I want to take the liquid lithium and then use the rotary condensator. I'm going to have to pipe to this, I believe. And then we'll send that to the chemical oxidizer. And we'll get both of these hooked in. And then this should make it, I believe. I think we want to do the opposite of condense, but let's do the pipe here. Make sure that is piping out. There we go. And we want to flip this. And then we want to make sure that this is sending the gas to the left. It looks like it's doing. This is a chemical oxidizer. We don't need an oxidizer. We need a chemical crystallizer. So I've got to get that crafted up real quick. All right, there we go. So this is now doing the thing that we needed to do. Perfect. It's getting the job done. And we can have this send to an ender chest. Do I have the ability to make ender chests now? I do. So we'll just send this to this ender chest, and then we'll hook the ender chest up to the refined storage. So since this is outside, I need to make sure the items are auto eject and eject them to the left. There we go. That's going to end up in here, and then we can just import that directly in. And then I just need to get some speed upgrades on here. I'm hoping that this doesn't interfere with our setup over here too much, and that this just fills up and this still maintains. I think it's still maintaining everything that it needs. Oh, which is good. The less I have to worry about. I can tell you the autocraft just for the induction casing, the induction battery alone is just insanity. Yeah, that's a lot to craft here. And I think for right now, we should just do just do one ultimate induction and one ultimate power provider. You're going to need both in order to make a full induction casing setup, induction battery. But yeah, and we're also going to need an induction ports, 2 of them, one for input and one for output. So yes, so I need enough induction casings to surround these 2 blocks. And yeah, for now, I'm just going to try and autocraft that. I think that's a good idea. Oh boy. So one of these, oh yeah, we won't even have enough lithium. So I'm gonna have to wait just a bit for all of the lithium to build up for this. Just in case I didn't show the crafting and why this would just be insanity to try and do by hand crafting. You first need to craft the basic energy cube. The basic induction cell costs this with a cube. To go to the next one, it costs 4 induction cells and an upgrade to the advanced cube. Then the elite costs the advanced induction cells, and then the elite energy battery, and then so on and so forth. And same for the other one. It wow, that crafting is ridiculous. So after an extensive crafting party, which this is the only way I could describe this as, I now have them ready to go. And I think what I want to do is right up here into the center of the room is how I want to set this up. So right here, we can go ahead and get this in. We have the ultimate provider and then the actual cell. The cell stores the power. The provider allows the power to go in and out. So I'm going to want an induction port. I can do one on the side, this side, and one on the other side connected. I think they have to be connected to the providers. And then the rest of this needs to be surrounded by a casing, such as this. And so we just surround the whole thing, and we know it's finished when we see those particles, those redstone particles. There we go. So this is our induction. This particular size can store 1.6 trillion FE. 1.6 trillion, that's right, you heard it right, trillion FE. And then its input rate should be pretty high as well. I believe its input rate, capacity, let's see, this is cell, it can go up to 52 million on its output rate. And I believe the input rate, I don't know if the input and output rate are separate, but hopefully this will be enough to store the power from our turbine. That's ultimately going to be the big thing. I'm going to make sure, and I'm going to have to do some finagling with our flux plugs. Thankfully, these have priorities. So what I might do is just set any power that's generated from a turbine. I make sure that that power is used first, and then any residual power needed can come from a gas burning generator. Hopefully I can configure that right. Now, to set up the turbine on the wiki, it does recommend a very basic build if you're going to be using water cooling, in which I'm going to be using water cooling for right now. And this is the size. So it's a 5x5, 9 tall. And there's a couple of specifics about this. This kind of makes it a little bit easier. We do have a max burn rate that we're going to be able to use for this particular turbine. And that's about 19.2 burn rate, millibuckets per second burn rate that we can run for our fizzle fuel. Now, I'm going to need about 5 turbine rotors. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And now this makes it kind of perfect because we're going to have these saturating condensers. We're going to have these vents, which I'm going to need specifically 33. And then coils. So 3 coils exactly. So starting on this layer, I should be able to get 3 coils placed in, and then the rest will be these saturating condensers that are going to go here. And then this is going to be left empty right here, and then we will have the 33 vents that are going to be connected up to the top. And that is basically it for this water-cooled turbine. Of course, we got to put the turbine blades on and also put our ports in. But as far as the complicated part, that's basically it. Now, we still need our blades. So I'm going to have to craft a few blades here. I don't know how many I'm going to need. Let's start with 20 for right now. Actually, it'd be 5. Yeah, it'd be exactly 20. 5 on each side. So 10, 20. So once we get the blades put in, I don't know if it's per side or it just goes on the shaft. We'll be able to get that done. And then I think reactor glass works for this as well. So I can start to fill this in with reactor glass. I am going to need ports for the turbine, but almost everything is set up. And I think the port for the turbine, we're going to need a port that is going to accept our steam, right? Accept the steam. We're going to need a port that accepts or that outputs the water back into this, which we're going to end up running some stuff here. And then we also need an output for the power that this is going to produce. So all of that together is quite a lot to keep in mind. So yeah, no, we only need 5 of these, it looks like. No, actually more than that. We needed a few of them. There we go. Anyways, they're all ready to go. And let's go ahead and see if the reactor glass works for this and get that all put in. So yeah, I think structural glass is a thing to use, but it's not actually complete because I actually missed a couple of parts. And this is where I say I am not perfect. Definitely not. Far from it. I'm actually still learning Mekanism, even though throughout all these years I've played around with it. I am still technically... there's still a lot of it I do not understand, and I'm still learning. So right here up in the top, I kind of missed some steps. Just using the wiki, it didn't actually explain fully everything until you look up all the components that are needed up here. But one of the things I want to need is this pressure disperser, but I also need a rotational complex. This thing will not work without a rotational complex in it. This is what connects directly to the shaft, and this is what charges the coils. And so I do want the coils attached here. I can go ahead and put that one here. Doesn't really matter. But I still need 6 of these, so I think on the top is where I can put this condenser. However, I want the vents to disperse. So I'm going to use this pressure dispersers around like this to fully disperse into our vents. I think that's how that works. Like, I'm still learning all of this. Okay, so it still didn't complete. So I still must be missing something. Okay, so after doing some further research... Oh my goodness, there's a lot to this. After doing some further research, I've kind of found that we actually need the pressure dispersers down here. And so connected to the rotational, we'll put the pressure dispersers. And then on the top, we will hook our coils. Sort of like this. And then on the side, I will have my saturating condensers. Hopefully that's correct. There it goes. It's like a puzzle because there's no other references other than going online and trying to figure this darn stuff out. So now that we have all the pretty particles, I think we have almost everything ready to go. So next episode, I am going to be putting together the rest of the fission reactor, which means we are going to need all of the stuff to manage the byproducts to feed this water. And then we're going to be routing our cables over to here. And then our power is going to lead into the induction casing. So I think we have just about everything prepped up for antimatter. This is literally to make one thing, guys. This is why I say, why is antimatter, antimatter, antimatter in every mod pack? Why is it the end goal? I don't know. It doesn't even produce a whole lot of amazing items. Like it's really kind of meh, to be fair. So with that, guys, I want to say thank you guys so much for your support through this series thus far. And if you haven't subscribed already, now would be a fantastic time to do so. Thanks to all of you who have subscribed. We're getting very, very close to that 600,000 subscriber mark. It is insane, and I couldn't have done it without you guys. Also, be sure to click that like button. You know, feed that algorithm by giving it a good old smackaroo there. And of course, guys, it's now time to thank the supporter of today's video. And that huge thanks is going to go out to Nanners. Thank you so much for your amazing support, by the way, over on the Discord, becoming a Discord premium member and supporting in one of the best ways possible. Also gaining access, wow, if I could say that correctly, gaining access to our amazing subservers and all kinds of fun stuff that we're doing over there. So be sure to check that out if you haven't already. Link down in the description below. Also, guys, be sure to leave a comment if there's a way that you could have done this reactor better, or there's a way you would have made the steam turbine better. I don't know, or you guys have done the math. Maybe I've missed some documentation online. I don't know. Let me know down in the comments below what you think the best reactor combo setup would be, because I would love to know, especially for future videos. That would be amazing. Guys, thank you so much. I'll see you in the next one. And as always, thanks for watching. Bye.